Okay, we'll try that again. So this is what we're going to be using. We're going to be using the 8x5, 8x5 mixed media album. It's got a nice little leather bound end to it. Nice, thick, heavy chipboard, or actually press board covers. And then you get 50 sheets of paper, I believe. Yeah, 50 sheets of the craft paper, which is really nice to build off of. And we're hoping to get into that today. Alrighty. And also, I'm going to try to use as much as possible in this kit. And we also have these very pretty buttons. These are the Rosarian buttons. They're wood. They're printed on the wood, which is really nice. Okay. Then we also have these cool vintage, or the metal trinkets. These are, I'm trying to think what line these are. These aren't saying. Carrie might know. All right, there's some, I'll show you guys how you can punch, and I've showed you before, but I'll show some of you, I know some of you are new, how to punch directly through the art tiles. These are fun because they have the little frames as well as the bottle caps, so there's a nice assortment of embellishments in that one pack. And we're also going to be using the Resist canvas, and this is, I'll give you the item numbers, 561031. On the trinkets, it was 559663. On the buttons, it was 559298. And we also have these Welcome to Paris journal cards. I'm not sure if I'll be getting to these, but I'll show them to you. We also have the Madeline paper pack. I want to use this. This is a really good size for your mixed media journals or your art journals. The 6x6 and A4 sized pads are really good to utilize with collaging and small paper or page design. So that is the Madeline, and the number on that is 842161. And of course, the little mini alphas. I really love these packs. I like that Prima came out with these. They have such a large assortment of sizes and shapes and colors. Very cool. And the number on that is 554347. And I was given a nice little Prima grab bag assortment of flowers. These are always fun to embellish your pages with. Can't have enough of just plain flat flowers. Okay. And I have an assortment of papers, but we'll see what we use once we get to that point. And I have a little surprise to show you guys. I have a couple of the new Prima Sizzix dies that are coming out in June. And this is why I'm changing the design of my cover, okay? I wanted to show you how you can utilize a couple of the die cuts to cover the album. I'm going to use some fabric and some of the paper, and I'm going to cover the front with some nice linen, and then we'll build it up with flowers and make it all frilly and girly and awesome, okay? So this one is the main one I'm going to use with our cover, and it has 3 flowers in it, and I'll show you once I cut it out. It has 3 flowers in it, and it has a leaf, which is really nice because you have all in one. You can build these into layers with the sizes that are on here. You can use the flowers separately, which I'm going to do today, and there's a lot of different applications you can use with this. And we also, I'm going to use the butterfly die. Oh. You can use them with burlap. You can use them with fabric. You can use them with cork or metal. So this one has 2 different butterflies on it, and I'll show that to you too. Also, I'm going to cut it out in paper later on. And you can use, and there's little wing enhancements that you can add detail with as well. So that's the larger size butterfly. You can see there. And we can definitely add and layer and make goodies to it, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Now to cut the pieces of fabric, I am going to bring over my little machine, okay? I want to make sure. How many of you guys have used some type of die cut machine? Move that up a little bit for you. Okay. And what we're going to do, yeah, big shot, everything, any Sizzix die will work. And I just cut some thin natural linen. It's like a muslin fabric, thin. And it's nice to layer and bunch and all of that good stuff. And I cut a few. Well, hopefully I'll have enough here to do what I'd like to do. This is kind of off the cuff for you guys. So I'm going to put a few pieces of fabric. I have a good amount here. Probably about 5 or 6 pieces. Just going to lay my die. Actually, I'm going to flip it over and lay it upwards so I can make sure that it's cutting through. Grab my other plate. And I'm just going to send that bad boy through. So much easier. Yeah. Okay. And as you can see, it cut through all of my pieces. Ooh, ah, look at that. Look at the goodies we're going to be using. Aww. So rocks, so rocks. Okay, let's pull those ones aside. We're going to put these cut ones aside. And we'll layer some more in here. It doesn't have to be exact. Just have to kind of layer them in. And then I'm going to go the other direction. Alright. Pull all of my flowers out. Some of them might catch because I didn't cut them all the same, but we'll fix that in a little bit. And with the linen, because of its weave, you can kind of distress it and pull some of the fibers apart. It's really fun. It's a little thinner than canvas. Well, it is thinner, a lot thinner actually, than canvas, but it has the same type of weave to it. So you can have a lot of fun with it. Okay, so we'll see if we have enough flowers cut for that. And again, these are going to be available in June. So make sure you watch your local stores or online, because there's a large collection of them. Now for the cover, I'm going to make the cover long ways. I'm not going to have it this way. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get this little handle off, which is easy. All you need is something to pry underneath it. And you can use a pair of scissors or even a little, let's see if my ruler works. Because I can add this back on later. So let's go ahead and get under the cover. There, see, you can pop it right off. And I can go back in and glue it on wherever I want later on. Or you could save it for another project. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes, they popped off. Alrighty. So with the fabric, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fold these flowers in half. And I'm going to kind of bunch them up. Okay, because I want to make a cool little layered frilly effect. Kind of like a trim or lace. But I want to make sure that I make my own look here. So we are going to use kind of quite a bit of glue today. But the good part of the fabric tack is I can put a bead on here and it could sit for a few seconds, even a minute, and still be workable. Okay, so let's get the glue started. I'd use hot glue gun, but most of the time I'm too slow or I fidget and I want to change something and the hot glue cools and then you're stuck with whatever's on your project. And I had a brand new bottle and I think I forgot it up at Prima the other day. So we're babying this. Oh, wait. Oh, is this a good one? This will work too. The 3-in-1 will work as well. So let's tip that bad boy up and we'll use that one in a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and run a bead of glue across the cover. And we're going to color these, I think. Should we spray these, you guys? Should we spray these beautiful fabric flowers? Okay, fold it again. And kind of just bunch it a little bit. Just a little bit. Here, let's scoot this one over. Kind of cover my page. Doesn't have to be exact, like I said. Another bead of glue. And we can go back over and add layers of this stuff. I just want to get a base down so I know if I have enough flowers. Yeah, we're going to spray them. Let's do like an ombre effect. How about that? Do you guys know what an ombre effect is? It's where you variegate and you blend the same color tone, but you go from dark to light. All right. So once I get all of these down, I'm going to get some spray and we'll spray these. Okay. This is looking cool already. Like totally. I got up too early this morning. But I have no kiddos today, so not too bad. So you can see where we're already layering. And this would be really pretty for just a bride's book for a wedding or a Mother's Day project. So many possibilities. Okay. That's okay. I can go loony. It's good. And I'm at home. So we're good. Hubby made homemade biscuits this morning. He had them ready to go before I was even awake. But he's the early riser, not me. Okay, let's go over here. There's no exact science. That and the muslin, the one good thing about the muslin is it's thin enough to where if you put a bead of glue, it should seep through both layers since we're folding them in half. As you can see, my glue is getting to the dire end here. And all I'm doing is I'm layering these on top. I started at the bottom because I kind of wanted to know where my bottom was. If they hang over a little bit, that's fine. Keep going. I may actually have enough, you guys. We will see here. Oh, man. I may not. I take that back. We'll see here in a minute. You can use any type of fabric. You can use, you know, the cheapy stuff you can find at the Goodwill. You know, you get the vintage fabric, the old vintage fabric you can find Goodwill once in a while. Have fun with that. I'm going to fill this little hole in right here. Just add a little guy. We're going to cover part of this up with embellishments anyways, but look at that so far. Okay. Anything to have fun, right? Hope you all plan to join us all day long. Next up, I'm going to have a scrapbook page. We're going to be using the Hello Pastel collection, something a little brighter and springish. Prima all day, every day. Only way to go. Okay, let's see. Got a couple little holes over here, so fold my little flower, tuck that in there, fill in little holes you got floating around. I gotta fill up this space up here, and then we'll spray it. Ooh, yeah. Okay. These little ones are great size. Perfect. This is the medium size flower. And all I'm doing is kind of pinching them up at the top. Oh no, I cut some of these in half. Like I said, the fabric wasn't exactly cut to size, so I have little odds here and there, but that's okay. Okay, shut that off. Okay, who's gonna nurse baby? All right, where are you from, guys? Okay, you guys are chatting among yourselves. Add a little guy down here. Okay, and you could even do this on the back as well if you wanted to cover the back. I'm not going to today. I'll probably just paint it and keep going. Okay, so this is our cover. I love it, so marvelous. The glue I'm using is Fabric Tack by Beacon Adhesives. Really great liquid adhesive. I'm coming down the tail end of that bottle, so it's kind of being a little finicky with me. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and spray it as requested. And what colors would you like to see me use? What color? Pick a color. I'm not picky. Pink? I think pink. Pink looks like it's kind of winning, you guys. All right, let's grab some pink real quick. Let's see what I have on hand. I can mix some if I have to. That's red. Let's start with red and go down to pink. Make sure my sprays work. We'll go red to pink. That way you can see the change. Oh, crash. Crash, bam, boom. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my lighter color first. And what that will do is get the fabric wet, and then you can add color on top of the lighter color. So start light to dark with this technique. And I'm just going to go light to dark. Let me test out my colors real fast on the fabric to see what we're working with here. Okay, so I'm using a couple different sprays today. I'm using Lindy's Stamp Gang. This one is Starburst in Saltwater Taffy. This is going to be my base color. This is my lightest color, so I'm just going to spray. Let me grab my towel to spray on so I don't get a complete mess on my table. So I'm going to go over the entire piece, get all of that muslin wet. And then about halfway up, what I'm going to do is, my next color is Cotton Candy Pink. So I'm going to bring this up about halfway. And you can see, it's hard to see in the video, but you can see the difference. Here's my light and then our dark. And I'm going to add a little bit of red. Now I warn you, I might be screwing this up. Just a little. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to water this back down. Okay. So you're just going to blend color. Alright. Wow, that color on the camera does not look good. I promise it matches, you guys. It's like a really deep pinky red color. Alright. So once I'm going to go ahead and hit that with the heat gun. The muslin won't take very long to dry. Yeah, it's not orange, I promise. I'll take a photo of this once we're done. It is pink. Once we're done, I'll take a photo and post it on Facebook. I saturated this with a lot of spray. The top is pink. I'm going to dab some of this off. We don't need quite as much as I sprayed on here. Okay. Still messing around. Dry, right? Carrie's class, if you guys did not see it this morning, was so great. She did such a great job using the Sunrise Sunset album. It looks so nice. I think we're pretty dry, so you guys don't have to hear that, right? Oh, and the red color I used, so you know, it's lobster. So it is a pinky red color. Let me see if I hold this up, if it'll show closer to, I don't think it's going to. It's going to look orange to you guys. Darn it. Okay. Well, I'll show you guys a photo once I'm finished. But that is the idea is to add the fabric, utilize the new dyes. Of course, we have to have them, right? And layer it, and you can make a really soft, fluffy, you know, girly cover. Okay? And who would have thought those were flowers, right? It just looks like fabric. And you can kind of smush them up a little bit and blah, blah, blah. All right. So let's go ahead and decorate the cover. My towel, my use-it-all towel. Grab a few of those instead of paper towels. You could throw them in the wash with your towel, your regular towels or rugs, and clean them off once in a while. I was going through paper towels so quickly that, you know, I wasn't using them all for projects. That was the main idea when we first started all that, was using them in projects, but I was using too many. But, okay. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to decorate this beautiful piece. And I want to go ahead and cut a couple butterflies to decorate the cover with. And I'm going to use papers from the Madeline little 6x6 pad. Okay. Yes, the Sizzix. The Sizzix die that I just used was 658528. That's the one with the 3 flowers and the leaf. 658528. All right. And then the butterfly one, I'll give you the number in just a sec. Now I want to use, let's see, what paper? Something that kind of matches. I'll go for the neutral color. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, I'm using this really neutral, like ledger type paper. Well, it's got like handwriting on it, you could see. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use for the butterflies. And I'm just going to do it off camera so you guys don't have to wait on me to move it. And the number on that is 658530. Okay, what do I am using Fabric Tack by Beacon Adhesive. Yes, it's Fabric Tack. You can also use the 3-in-1 as well. It's the same. It's a little thinner in my opinion, but you could definitely use it for this, for all of your embellishments. Okay. Send that through real quick. And my little butterflies. These would be cool in like a tin. I don't have any tin available, I don't think. But you could cut these in tin and make them all cool, and you know what I mean? So we have our little butterflies. Kind of fold them up a little bit, like so. This is totally different from my original, you guys. I apologize, but I wanted to show that to you. Give you different little technique there. Okay. Yes, it is a Prima journal. If you guys are just joining us, it is a Prima journal just like this one. I think it was this one. The same one, like this. Same thing. I got you off canter here. And I took the handle off. I pried this off. It pops right off. And then we are going to town with the fabric and the sprays. Okay. And now we have our little butterflies. No, not a problem. We have our little butterflies. I'm going to add a couple of these flowers. I don't have the item number on these flowers, so if Carrie has them, that would be awesome. Okay, and I'm going to kind of put these towards the top because I have this cool little banner thing I want to use. And I do flower placement, and then I go back in and adhere it all in. Kind of your own personal preference on that. And look at these little additions you can add to the butterflies. They have like little additional wings that you can cut in different papers. Isn't that cool? And adhere in there as well. I'm not going to use those right now, but go ahead and place those there. Yes, up close. These are those flowers. Da, 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 da. They have a cool little gold pearl around them. Isn't that pretty? They're very light too. You wouldn't think with the beading that they would be light, but they are. They're very light fabric. So you could put them on a lot of different, or it's not fabric, paper, I'm sorry. They look like fabric. Those are just paper. And then next, what I'm going to do is I went around the yard and found sticks. Okay. To kind of bring the garden theme in, of course. I found some sticks. I'm going to use this little twig, and I just put, you know, what is it called? Embroidery thread around the piece to just soften it a little bit. So we're going to use that guy right here somewhere. And then we have to, of course, add flowers from our goodie bag. The Prima Lovelies that we have. Let's see. I'm just pulling all my elements and then we'll glue. Ooh, that's a pretty pink. Goes with our little background. Got a couple in here. We'll separate those. Oh my. Too many to choose from. Since we're going with the pink theme, we'll stick with those main colors. Okay, I think that's good. Alright. So let's go ahead and put those aside. And if you were watching Carrie's show, she showed you the resist canvas in her last show as well. But I'm going to show you again because this stuff is pretty awesome. Yeah. This one pack has over 24, it has 24 pieces. And the majority of the pack are swirls. Swirls and leaves. A lot of, you know, natural elements, which is nice. Okay. Let's pick a few and we'll color them up for you. Look at how all the different looks in here. Looky. Let's see. That one would look good. And let's grab a couple leaves. This is a good little stem, and that little stem. All right. Now I'm going to find one of our chalk inks to color our canvas with, and I'm going to go with Rock Moss. It's a soft olive color, and I'm going to take this directly over, grab a wet bottle of water, a wet bottle of water. That makes sense, huh? I'm going to grab a wet bottle of water, and first I'm going to run my chalk ink right over the top of my resist canvas. And you can use a baby wipe as well. And I'm just going to wet that down a little bit and wipe it off with my little towel. Dab it off, I guess you'd say. And you can see where our little resist shows up. Isn't that cool? You can see that. So you can use our chalk inks even to color these. Ooh. They're very inky and juicy and awesome. Okay. And again, I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Dab off my excess ink. Ooh, that's pretty color against the pink color. Ooh. And again, the color is Rock Moss. It's coming out more of a light, not a lime green. It's not quite as bright as lime, but it is a nice, pretty contrast to the colors we're using. You can see one more time what the resist looks like. Very fun. And Prima has a very wide range of the resist canvas, and they usually have ones that will coordinate with their paper lines very well. And then they have odds and ends that you could use with whichever, you know, collection or embellishment you'd like to use. So let's go ahead and tack these underneath here and there. And again, I'm just placing right now to kind of figure out where I want everything to go before I commit, you know, commit to the permanent status of each flower. All right, and I told you I want to try to use everything in the pack, right? Okay, in our kit. So next I'm going to open the vintage trinkets. Ooh, and this one little embellishment piece right here, the little frame would be perfect on this cover. So let's go ahead and open that up, and we're going to include it somewhere over here. And of course, our beautiful buttons. You guys chose a really good color to use, yeah? Really good color, I should say. So I'm just going to pick a couple. And what's neat about these buttons, another thing, they have printing on one side, but they're plain on the other. So if you wanted to, you can paint these to match whatever project you're working on. Which, why don't we do that? Why don't we grab a couple of colors? We'll use the green we just used. And let's find a pink or a white. Ooh, let's use white. So I have the white chalk ink, and I'm going to take one of my little wood buttons. Look at how fast I just altered that bad boy up. Do another. I usually pick ones that I really don't like the pattern on. You just take our little chalk ink. I do a couple of these like so, and this one's a little darker wood tone, so that's pretty cool. You'll get a different look than the first one. You can see the difference. All right. Fun and easy and quick, right? Sometimes we just need the fun, easy, and quick. Okay, and then let's add another couple ones in there, but we'll see. Ooh, and look at, there's hearts in this set. I love hearts. They are already printed onto the actual wood. Okay, let's go ahead and start gluing. I usually start when I do my placement of my flowers. I start with my biggest flower first, and then I build around that, because basically what you want to do is you want to create a main focal point, and you want to create elements that will draw your eye across the project or page or card or whatever you're working on, so you can trail pieces across the cover as well. So let's get this glue going. I think I'm going to have to go to my 3-in-1, but all right, you asked for it. I'm impatient today. So I'm just going to add my liquid adhesive right on the back. And what's nice about fabric tack in the 3-in-1 is, honestly, it will stick. They will stick to anything. And next is my medium-sized little flower. Okay. Hot glue just doesn't work for me. I've had pieces later on, they fall off, or it ends up cooling too quickly and you end up running out of time. The good part about the liquid adhesive is it gives you a little bit more workable time on your project. And I don't burn myself, so that's always a plus. Okay, let's stick this little vine under my butterfly, kind of finagle it between these flowers a bit. Kind of add cool little layers here, like so. Tack down the edge. Okay. All right. Add one of our little pink flowers. break up all that white there a little bit. Okay. And just kind of place them here and there. Make sure that you keep my little stick handy. That's the next one coming up. Let's see, let's place this other little flower kind of peeking out over there. And you notice I'm not putting thread in my buttons. I'm going to use our little crystals. Oh, and I have a package of crystals. Didn't show you these earlier. Aren't these marvelous? I really get close up for you guys. Look at how shiny and pretty those are. Nice pretty pinks and purple tones. And I like using these as centers for my buttons. So I'm just going to take like a couple little small ones to cover my holes with. Makes it quick and easy. I don't have to mess with running a piece of thread through. I know I'm impatient, but what can you do? Same with my flowers. I'll cluster a few, like I'll take 2, 3 little crystals and cluster them in the center. So they look like the little original real flower centers. Okay. Continue on this one. And I didn't forget about my little flower down here, but we'll get to it in just a second. So here's our cover so far. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my stick. Okay. And this is going to hold our little title banner. Let's see. I'm going to hold off on that for now. Let's glue our other little butterfly. And flower. Like so. Any questions? What? Okay, the adhesive I'm using is Fabric Tack or the 3-in-1, and they're both by Beacon. And I will honestly tell you, I've never had anything fall apart. If I make a mistake and it's sat for a few hours, I can't get it pulled apart, but at least I know it's not falling apart. So here is my cover so far. Now this little guy right here, I'm going to make a little tag. It was like this, but I don't think this one matches very well. So let's make a new one. And I'm going to go back to our Madeline paper. And on one of these, there are little tags somewhere. Let me find them. Ta-da! Look at, so pretty. So there's 4 little pieces, 4 little frames that you could choose to cut out. So I am going to go ahead, put this aside, grab my Prima craft knife, one of the many I have in here, maybe, if I could find it. Prima craft knife. Okay. How many layers of each bundle? Okay, so on the flowers, what I did was I took on the die that I used, there is a large flower about yay big. You can kind of see it. A medium and a small, and then the leaf. I didn't use any of the leaves. And I used, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 15, I'd say, probably. Not even that, of the large flower, and I folded them in half. And then the medium-sized flowers, I used about the same and folded them in half and layered them together. And again, this is going to be video, or it is being recorded, so you can always go back and double check how many I actually used. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this really pretty tag right here that has a little bit of teal in it, kind of an nice accent color. Okay. And always turn your paper as you're fussy cutting. I need a new mat. I need a paint and mess mat and then a Live with Prima cut mat. And I don't know why, but I can't, I have a hard time using the craft mats. The, Ranger craft mat. It just never, I don't know. It's too slippery, I guess. Okay, let's cut this actually off of the rest of the paper. Makes it a little easier there. Trying to cut it so I'm on camera. You can cut these with scissors too, of course, but I wanted to use my little knife. Okay. Right around there. Alright. So I have my little tag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half so that the edges somewhat meet up. Okay. So it looks like a little tag. Like so. I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges on that. Let's go ahead and use a little dark bark. It's a pretty brown color. Bring a little distressing to the piece. Yeah, it's a nice contrast. Okay. Kind of rub that in a little bit. Alright. I'm going to glue this together so that they stay together. Alrighty. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of thread and just some, the, what is it called? Embroidery thread. Doesn't matter what color. I'm just going to take a little bit to make a little hanger for my piece. The craft mat I'm cutting on is Prima. They do not have them available though any longer, the last I heard. So I'm just going to flip this over, and you could actually use tape or something. I'm just going to use a little liquid adhesive, and I'm going to create a little hanger. Kind of gauge it. You can always cut the excess twine off. Okay. Alright. Like so. Okay. Oh, looky. And we're going to hang it on our little branch, but I want to put some wording on it. Okay, I'm going to make sure. Okay, let's see. I already claimed Carrie's album. I claimed it months ago, or actually weeks ago. Okay. Alright. So now we have all these beautiful alphabets, and you can see there's words and there's the letters, different size letters, different colored letters. So let's see what we have down here. Let's do lovely. Like so. I'm going to puff these up with a couple foam squares. Okay. Lovely, and we'll do garden. How about that? So let's use these. Let's see. Let's use these ones. Pull them off and I can arrange them differently in a bit. Garden. Spelling this upside down, so let's hope I get it right, huh? Alrighty. Last one. Lovely garden. Looky, looky. Quick and easy little piece. You can add whatever you want on it. And then we're going to slide this right on here. Like so. Okay. Kind of hangs over our butterflies, so I may scoot him down a bit, or I may scoot or shorten our little sign. Okay, see? And I'll take a photo of it once we are finished. I'm finished today. Alrighty. I wanted to show you this art medium that I really love using, and I think would go great with the gold that is on these flowers. Is this gold mica flake, and it's made by Golden, and it's got this cool gold flaking in it, and it's got a gel medium type base to it, so you can add it to anything you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit to our little butterfly wings. I just use my finger. You can use a paintbrush, but I'm just running this kind of over our little wings here just to make them pop out, give them a little more substance. You could also add crackle, the rock candy crackle paint to these, and they give them more of a base and thickness. I'm going to use my little gold. Okay, you can just dab that around, kind of rub it over the top. And when it dries, it kind of looks milky when it's wet, but when it dries clear, and all you see is the gold flaking. And I'll try to hold the bottle up so you can see what it looks like dry. And you can layer these really heavily or do it thin. You can add a few here and there. You can even add flakes of gold onto our fabric, which would be pretty. Kind of run some up here on our leather to kind of soften it up and lighten it up a bit. I used this a while back. I haven't used it in a while, and I'm like, oh, that'll be fun. Kind of introduce it to some of the people that haven't seen the shows yet. Okay. Alright, and this again is the gold flake. You can see it looks just like gold. And then once this dries, it'll be nice and shiny and give it that. People who don't like glitter, but they want the glimmer and glam to it and don't want to mess with the glitter, this mica is a perfect solution to that. All right. So I still have a half hour. So let's get started on the center, in the inside. Yeah. Oh, on the outside. What I did with I went and grabbed a bundle of branches. See my little twigs? Oh, let me show you this real quick. So I have my little twigs, and I tied them up with some of the embroidery thread again. And what I did was I went ahead and I reran my thread a little bit differently, and then I added this to the top of the album, like so. Okay? But I am going to unravel this so that I can get into my inside pages and not make a mess. So let's go ahead and untie these real quick. Let's take a couple pages out. Not a lot, but we'll take a couple. Put my book aside so she can dry. Okay. These craft papers are really nice. It's a medium base, a nice, decent base. They will warp a little bit when you get them wet, but they're easy enough to flatten. It's not a problem. Plus, when you get enough of those in, that book is heavy enough to where it'll flatten it out. I like the kind of funky feel that you get with mixed mediums like that, because it just, I don't know, it shows that it's handmade. You know what I mean? Okay. So we have our little album sheets. And like I said, I wanted this to be like a garden album. We are starting to garden and plant and flowers and this, that, and the other. And I thought this would be a really cool way to keep track of it and to see, you know, what you planted that year, the flowers when they start. And this would be a really fun project to do with your kids. And take photos or keep the packets of your seeds or the tag from your flowers and put them in your book and keep track of it and take photos and things like that. It's just a really cool way. I think kind of like just a nature book. You can do even sketches, like keep the tag and then do a nice really cool sketch next to it and try to keep, like if you're trying more for the art journal, make it your own flower art journal or your own garden art journal. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to put these side by side like they're going into the book, like so. Let me move these out of the way a bit. And we are going to use some of our screens to start our background. I want to show you a few background techniques. Okay. Oh, yeah. Carrie said Prima's got a huge sale. You guys are not going to believe it. You're going to love it. It's worth the wait, I'm telling you. Okay. So let's start out with our 12 by 12. Doesn't quite fit across, but we'll have to do what we have to do, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on one side, and I'm going to use my favorite paints that I've been using lately, and those are the silks. You know that I love my silks, people. Okay, and my sponges. Now the makeup sponges I buy at, you know, dollar store or Kmart or wherever, they're cheap. They're a lot cheaper than brushes, and it's a really good way to utilize the painting technique, but without spending a lot of money. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of blend these two together. The gold's not going to show a lot on the craft paper, but it's going to give this really cool resist mica look. All right. You don't want it too heavy because what it'll do is it'll seep underneath your screen. Okay. Do it really heavy in one corner, a lot of color in one corner, and then you could lightly fade it out across the screen. I'm going to kind of move this just a little. I'm going to shift it so that my squares are in an open space. So I have my paint, my gold paint, and now I'm going to go in, I'm going to shift my screen just a tad bit, and I'm going to take my Bolivian blue. I'm going to take a different sponge so that when I moved my screen, I have clean craft background. So I'm going to make checkerboard effect with the blue and the gold. And I probably put too much paint on here, but that's okay. Okay. You can see the two different tones in there, right? And now what I'm going to do, let's see, close these up. I added too much paint in that lid, but that's okay. So you can see my background, how I kind of just shifted the screen over a bit, and what it did was made a nice cool checkerboard effect. All right. Now I'm going to add another layer. So this layer I'm going to use, let's see, which screen should I use? I have the book of screens here. Let's use this one. This is the 12 by 12. I'm going to add a couple over here and then a couple over here. All right, and this time I'm going to use, let's see, kind of trying to come up with some cool ideas for you ladies and gents. Let's see. Okay. This is black ice. I'm going to use my little blue sponge, kind of wipe some of that off. And just right in the center, I'm going to do a couple, oh, I just took too much. Never enough, and then too much, right? Now I like this technique of using the paint and daubing it on because I don't have quite as much of a mess this way as if I was actually spraying it. It just keeps the mess down a little bit. Different way to utilize your supplies. Okay. Okay. And then blend it out. And then since we have nothing over here yet, I'm going to move this over. Just get a couple little pieces over here in the corner. And you can do the same techniques on your scrapbook pages, the background page, or even on the pattern paper. You can, even if you buy the pattern paper, you can always add more design with our screens. The Prima screens are so useful. I like the thickness of them. It's not too thick and not too thin, so you can work with them a lot easier. Some of them are too thick, and I find if they're thicker, you end up getting more paint that seeps underneath than you do with the thinner ones. Okay, so here's some of that. Ooh, I like how this one turned out. It looks more like a flower, doesn't it? I don't know, I caught more of a flower design on this side and more of a circle design on this side. Am I right, or am I just seeing things? Okay, so let's put that one aside and make sure, I'm bad at this, but I have to tell you guys, make sure you guys clean your screens. All right, clean your screens, because after a while the paint does build up and you have issues with the paint and your mediums seeping underneath. Okay, so let's put that aside. Let's go ahead and add something else to this. So I'm going to make a little pocket using one of our tags. I am going to use these. These are the Welcome to Paris journaling note cards. And I'm going to go ahead and use these as a pocket. Just a little one. Let's see. This one would look really good on our background, I think. Just like that. Yeah. Okay. And this is easy. These note cards, what you can do is you can just easy peasy glue 3 sides of your card down, and that way you have a little pocket. You can add the, like I said earlier, the packets, empty packets of seeds or your flower tags. And this is a good way too, especially if, like here in the US, if you shop at Home Depot, if you buy your flowers at Home Depot, they have a year replacement. And if you're like me, you need that year to replace your dead flowers. So I'm just going to put this right here. Okay, like so. And you can add your little receipts and everything inside your pocket. Simple, simple, simple. So now that I'm on this, I have this down. I want to add something so that it ties the background in with the cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my polka dot. Now we used some of the fiber paste or molding paste earlier, but I'm going to show you how you can blend these with actual color, okay? So I have some of Primary Elements. Let's see. Let's use this one, I think. Primary Elements by Luminart in Mediterranean Blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to pull some of this out. Now I want to use a piece of packaging. I save the plastic cellophane from my flowers to use as painter's palettes. It's cheaper, and once I'm done with it, I can just throw it away. So I added some of the molding paste. It's just a light molding paste. This is to help add dimension. And what I'm going to do is the primary elements powder, I'm going to add just a little bit. You don't need a lot with this because it goes a long way. So I don't have a long nail. I don't have a lot of nails. So I'm just going to take something and scoop a little bit out, okay? You don't need a lot. You can see how much powder I grabbed. I'll show you in just a sec. All right, so you can see, you can see how much powder I used. And I'm just going to blend this in to my molding paste. And you can use acrylic paints. You could use sprays to do the same thing. And looky, looky, looky. Now, molding paste does dry white naturally, but now I have this pretty teal blue mixture I have going on here. Okay. So I'm just going to pull a little bit off my palette knife. Now you can use like old hotel keys or credit cards, gift cards if you want, if you don't have a palette knife handy. Popsicle sticks. Summer's coming around. Save those kids' popsicle sticks. And I'm just running this right over the top of my card and my background, and this will help pull both layers in so it doesn't look like I just have this card sticking in the middle of my project. Okay, with this album you may not be able to add a lot of dimension, a lot of flowers and thicker embellishments, but you can add a lot of elements to the project still. Okay, I'm going to run some off the edge of the page. Like that. Look at that. Pretty, pretty. And since I did it on that side, let's go ahead and even it out. Kind of even the weight of your elements out. The blue, it's Primary Elements by Illuminart, and it's just a powder, and the color is Mediterranean Blue. Let's see if I can get that up there so you can see. It's not wanting to focus. Come on. There we go. There's the color. And I'm using Liquitex Light Molding Paste, the same as your dimensional paste by Golden or anywhere else. This you can get at Michael's along with Golden as well. So it's just a different brand. This is a little lighter than your regular molding paste. It is a little thinner. I also use fiber paste, which is a little more fibrous, huh? But they do serve different purposes, I promise. So let's go over here, add a little bit more of our blue paste over here. Okay, just a little, so we can pull both sides in. Kind of just showing you guys techniques that you can use on your projects as well. Okay. Make sure you wipe off your molding paste. That is really what gets your screens, is the dimensional products. If you don't clean them off, the dimensional products will really screw up your screens. As you can tell, I'm not the best at cleaning mine. Do as I say, not as I do. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit this with a heat gun real fast. And then, once this is dry, I'll show you something else. Okay. I colored the paste. The paste comes white, and then I use the powder to color it. But you could also use regular acrylic paints. You can use, because it is an artist medium, you can use regular acrylic paints. You could use sprays. Use your Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays. You could spray that right into the paste and mix it with your palette knife. Okay. Alright. just a little background technique that you could utilize on your other projects. You don't have to use them exactly how I did. I just wanted to show you how you can layer your masks and you can add dimension onto it. You can even mix color with the same mask at the same time, basically. Now, if you are doing that technique where I took the checkered board mask and I moved it over to utilize the empty space, I would dry your first layer. The paints that I used dry fairly quickly, but if you're using an acrylic paint or even a spray, if you spray it, dry it, and then move your mask over and do your second layer. Okay? So next, if you don't like the craft background, you can always change that, right? You can use gesso. So let's do one with gesso, and I think that would be about my time allotted. Then I get to clean up this mess and show you guys a new one. So I'm just going to take some gesso. You can use, this is the Studio Gesso by Claudine Helmuth from Ranger. You can use regular art, Liquitex gesso, whatever you have on hand. Now, gesso is a primer base. It is a flat base that you use to prep your surfaces, but it has become a very popular medium in crafting. Oh, thank you guys. I just like showing you guys something different and new. Mixed media is becoming very popular, and I've been doing it for about 15 years. That just aged me a whole heck of a lot. But I've been doing mixed media for about 18 years now, or 15 years, actually maybe more close to 18. But I started doing the fine arts and mixed media before I got into scrapbooking. So when the mixed media trend came back in, I was excited, very excited. So I'm going to do a little gesso action on here. You don't have to cover the entire surface. We just want to give us a workable space to mess with. Okay, I'm going to do the center since those two are going to kind of match up a little bit. And messy fingers. If you don't like messy fingers, you better get some paper towel or gloves. What is my nail color? The nail color I'm using, thanks a windmillion. It's OPI. OPI. Thanks a windmillion. Funny, funny. It's different than what I had on Monday or Tuesday. Whatever day I was up with the wonderful Liz that joined me. Thank you again, Liz. That was so much fun. Fun. So I covered my little workable area. And now what we're going to do is we're going to layer some stamps. Okay? Let me clean up my mess a little bit. Yes, there is different stages of gesso. When you get it at the grocery store, the arts and craft store, you will notice that there's different levels. There's a academic level, which is the thinnest, which is usually your cheapest. You have a medium based, which is your average Liquitex, and then you have an artist professional based, which would be a thicker art medium or a thicker gesso base in Liquitex or Golden. And the Studio, I would say, is artist based gesso. The difference is price. The thinner academic, they'll price cheaper than your thicker Studio. And the thinner, you'll probably have to use a few more layers to get a nice even finish if you're actually using it for its actual purpose is to prime your surface. But when you're doing things like that, you don't really need a whole heck of a lot. If you can find the Studio Gesso, I strongly suggest it. It works very well. And anything Claudine makes is very good quality, and Ranger makes, of course, is a very high quality product. So if you can find this, go ahead and do this. But Liquitex and Golden, any art supply gesso you can find will work perfectly well for mixed media and scrapbooking craft purposes. So let me go ahead and dry this real fast. Okay. Because I want to kind of watercolor on top of this. Mod Podge, okay, my suggestion, I find gel medium works better than Mod Podge, but that's just my opinion. Gel medium is thicker, so it's not as fluid as the Mod Podge is, and it won't warp your product or project as much as Mod Podge, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so we have our nice white gesso background. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some watercolors. Now you can do regular based watercolors. You can do watercolor pencils. I've seen this really hot right now. The watercolor look is very soft and pretty and nice, and I really like that. So I'm going to put a watercolor background. You can use regular watercolors. You can buy the cheap little cake palettes at Michael's or whatever. Doesn't matter. And you can also use the Twinkling H2Os. These are also by Luminart, and I'm going to mix some of these together, I think. They have a glimmer, like a sheen to them, which is really fun. Yeah, cheapy gesso is fine, especially if you're just doing projects like this. Don't go out and spend the money to get the expensive stuff, believe me. Okay, so I want to make sure I didn't just saturate my water with gesso, but that'll work. So what you're going to do is I'm going to get my paintbrush wet. This is a water type brush. I'm going to kind of wet my gesso back down. Once it's dry, now that's another thing with gesso. Once it is dried, solid, you can paint over the top of it. If it's a tad bit wet, what it's going to do is it's going to mix in with your other art mediums. So you want to make sure that before you start another layer of product that your gesso is completely dry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mix add a little bit of water to my H2Os, and I'm going to add this on top of my gesso. Now this wouldn't be the same as if I was working on actual like watercolor paper or even cardstock, because the gesso doesn't soak it in the same, but it's really pretty to add just a really light wash of color this way. You can blend colors like so. Okay, just giving it a light wash. And again, this is the same idea as adding color with like sprays, but less color or less mess. Oh, thank you, Steph. I'm so happy you guys are all here. So much fun. So much fun. I'm going to turn my light a little bit. Got a little dark on us. My son moved outside. The sun moved outside, so I don't have as much natural light coming in anymore. So I'm going to just add a little bit of color here and there. Nice, cool little wash. Like I said, I've noticed that this look is very in right now, so I wanted to kind of show you guys how to do it yourself. Okay, so we have our nice white color wash on the back. Now we can layer a few background stamps real quick. And then by then, it's going to be time to go. And then I got to clean up another mess and come back with a cool little layout for you. Okay, so I'm going to bring out a couple stamps. A couple oldies but goodies. A couple newbies. Let's see. I'm digging for you guys. Okay, here's a good 3. Okay. So this is kind of like a mesh. This is an older one. I don't have the item number. I don't have the package to it. That's an older one. Then this one is from the Sunrise Sunset collection. And the item number on that is 960117. fun little doily type look. And then I also have the 563042, and I believe this is the clear stamp from maybe the or what is it called? What line is this from? I'm drawing a blank. Somebody will come up with it, I know. Frank, what line do you usually use? The darker colored collection, if you're still on. Let me dry this real quick. It's not dry quite yet. And this dries pretty quickly too. Okay. So I'm going to use my my stamp pads real quick, or my chalkings, I should say. Excuse me. I'm going to start with my larger stamp, and I'm going to use Teak Wall, which is a kind of a warm brown. Okay, and I'm not inking the entire stamp. I'm kind of just breaking it apart. Doesn't have to be solid for this technique. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and stamp. I'm going to kind of line these up for this one. Doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp down like so. Again, I'm going to add a little bit more. Just add broken little elements to the page. We're adding color and depth and texture without adding any bulk. Let's go ahead and add some green, since we have green on the background. And the color on this is English Ivy. It's a little brighter. This is really cool colors for the garden, of course. Okay. Again, I'm not stamping completely, just kind of adding different pieces. I like the broken look. And these are fun to, these techniques are also fun to use on tags when you're trying to get used to kind of the different ideas and stuff. Do a bunch of tags, and you can always use the tags on other projects. Now, you're also probably noticing I kind of stamping in threes. Kind of try to do odds when I do elements like this. And let's add our last little stamp. Got a couple minutes left, you guys, and then I'm outie for about a half hour. Then I'm back. Okay. Ooh, let's do this dark blue. Nah, that's too dark. I have a little dish over here with stamp pads that I keep handy. Lime Pie. Let's do Lime Pie. It's a little lighter color. And you notice also that I'm not using a block, a clear acrylic block. This gives me a little more freedom to give that broken look. Ooh, that's bright. Fluorescent is kind of popular right now, so kind of goes with the territory. Okay. All right. So we just kind of created a quick little background. It's hard to see in this light. A quick little background using just gesso and your inks and stamps. And especially in those mini albums, when you're not wanting, you can't add too much bulk to your project, it's a great way to add some different elements to your piece, you know? Okay. Now I'm going to try something again. Let's see if it works. Okay, can you see me? Oh no, did it freeze on you guys again? Am I frozen? Anna! Hi, Anna. Oh man. Cute, cute. It did freeze, didn't it? I froze. Oh, okay. Well, I'll point this up then. Kind of. My other little idea. It says save the tatas, okay? It's for breast cancer awareness. I had to, I know a few people who are going through it right now, so I wear it as much as I can to show support. So that was our little project. Let me see if I can get a better view of our album now that I'm standing up. You see the front. Something different than the original, but I wanted to show you some fun different techniques with the new dies that are coming out next month. So make sure if you have a local store, you tell them that they need to look into them. They're available on the Sizzix website right now, but I know they release in June, okay? Thank you, everybody. I will be back in about a half hour with another project. We're going to be doing a scrapbook page. You can see, ooh, look at that. The colors show up a little better in this view. Okay, you can see my gold flake. See how it's kind of dried now, how it's shiny. Gives a nice little bulk glimmer to it. Thank you. Marvelous. I will see you all in a half hour.